Hello and welcome back to my LEGO Castle Kingdom Work in Progress series, where today I'm excited to share many new updates and additions across many different parts of my layout. This includes new details in this central square area, including a giant oak tree and this awesome animated bard troupe, complete with 3 moving musicians, as well as the main focus for this video, which no good medieval city would be complete without, and that is the old church. So there's lots to get through, and let's begin by taking a look at the church. So let's start with an overview of the exterior of the church. As you can see, this is built into this plot of land right behind the farm, and I think this is a very good space that's not too big but also not too cramped for a church of this size. And that also means it connects to the main road, which leads all throughout the city. And there's even a pair of monks outside the church, with their distinctive haircut with the bald patch in the middle. And in case you're wondering which minifigures these heads came from, they are from the NBA basketballer minifigures from around 2003. They have the perfect hair to represent that bold haircut that medieval monks and priests often had. And also, this was a great opportunity to use these massive double doors from our old LEGO Harry Potter castle. And if we open them up, you can see some of the stained glass windows inside, as well as the main window at the back. But we'll get a better look at that when we see the rest of the interior. Then there's also some carved stone details, such as some little figurines, and of course the 2 spires, which each top off with some golden crosses. They're actually 4-way lug wrenches from the LEGO Toolkit sets. And I also decorated these spires with some more various stonework and intricate detailing around all the sides. And here's what the church looks like from the back, where this includes one of those main printed stained glass windows, and I think that looks really fantastic how it's built onto this small extension out of the main building, and that complements the side stained glass windows very nicely. And these windows are made out of LEGO Nexo shield tiles. This side's a little more colourful, and I'm also really happy with how each of those pentagonal shields fit perfectly into the arched bricks. Then you can see some more details which lead up onto the roof, and this is built out of this old dark grey colour. And I think this subtle difference in colour is very important to really distinguish the roof and the rest of the building, and it also helps to reinforce that weathered feeling to make it look like the church has really been here for a very long time. And that's pretty much it for the exterior details. I didn't want to go too overboard and build some giant cathedral. While it would be cool, it would look way out of scale compared to all the other buildings in my castle kingdom, and instead this is just more of a reasonable size. As for the interior, we can access this by removing the roof on the side, and here we have plenty of light to reveal all of the details inside. This includes several rows of church seating, also known as pews, and you can also see the stained glass windows. They look very impressive from the inside, a slightly different shape to the outside in fact. And then this long corridor extends all the way to the back, which includes this head priest who's currently preaching some sermons using some kind of religious artifact. And then you have this stained glass window at the back that also looks really cool. And that's just a quick look at that from the top here. So you can see this is why I've had to actually remove the church, because it is very dark, even here with the most light that you can get inside it. But that's just how it goes for any kind of medieval building, especially one that's built out of such a dark stone colour. So that's the inside of the church, nice and simple, and not too complicated. But then again, it doesn't really need to be, since this church is open to all of the peasants and common folk who live in the city, and this wouldn't really be a church that the royalty or more wealthy citizens of the kingdom travel to. So for that reason, I think it suits its purpose perfectly. Next up, we have a new addition to the animated builds, and this time it's a small stage with a set of medieval musicians. One of them playing a flute, then you have a singer in the middle, and a lute, or some other kind of early string instrument. And they look like they're having a bunch of fun, strumming, singing and dancing across the stage, and I think that's going to look really great once I've finished up this area a bit more and added some more spectators and other minifigures to this area, all gathered around and celebrating this exciting performance. It's a little tricky to see how I've animated these minifigures, but basically it works in a similar way to the mechanism which I showed off last episode for the moving lumberjacks over at the farm, where you have a small lift arm assembly that spins around and converts the continuous rotating motion into a left and right linear motion. And that's what you're seeing over on the sides for the flute and lute players. And then for the singer in the middle, I used a simple Technic cam design to make it look like she's jumping up and down and dancing to the song. So individually, not too complicated, but the real challenge here was getting this all to work together and combine all three of these mechanisms into such a tight space. So you can sort of see how this all fits together, with each of the pistons on the sides moving in and out, and lots of gears in the middle joining it all together, and of course you have the power functions motor hidden deep underneath the entire layout. But if you'd like to see a full how to build tutorial for this mechanism, then I have used a very similar design for my working Lego rock band, which is a bonus video I have available on my Patreon page, and the link for that will be in the description below. So returning back to the medieval time period, there's a few other details in this main central square, because like I mentioned, I was originally going to build maybe a house or two in this section over here, but instead I've decided it looks good with a giant oak tree over here, providing plenty of shade to anyone who's sitting or sleeping under it, such as this guard here from the tournament. And that's just a really cool, very simple design for a tree, that's just basically a bunch of leaves, and they're just attached to the tree trunk using some clips and bars, basically to angle all of these leaves around at different positions and orientations, and to create the appearance of a very bushy and thick layered oak tree. There's also some mushrooms over in the corner there. And then you might have also noticed this fountain, as well as this very fancy looking stone sculpture in the middle, which is actually made out of a brake disc from one of the Lego Technic motorbikes. There's also a small little figurine in the middle. So that's a neat little design, and it is looking a little bit sparse at the moment, but as I mentioned, I'll fill this up with many more minifigures, market stalls, and other kinds of medieval performers in the future. So I think that's going to look really great when it's completed. But for now, I've just been laying the groundwork and making sure that everything is all joined up and basically filling in the gaps, making sure that the paths are all connected and continuous, and basically to build up the area where I can fill it up in the future with even more houses and buildings like you have over at the back there. So there are all the main new additions to my Lego Castle Kingdom, but I've also got a few work in progress structures you might have noticed over at the actual start of the castle itself. So let's take a quick look at those. And this is just mainly a few experiments with things like the massive towers that will make up the keep of the castle, as well as some smaller tower designs over there. And with this big tower in particular, you can see how I'm just trying out some different styles for some stairs that will lead up to each of the floors in the tower, and I'm thinking when completed this will be probably about the same height, or maybe even a bit taller than the gatehouse, and of course that will be built into the keep, which will have probably square walls and maybe some smaller towers on the other corners. And then with this little dual tower setup, I think that'll look quite good over on the top here, with a small grate over here that will let the water flow through out of the river until it reaches the cliff edge and drops down into the working waterfall. So lots of exciting things to come with the main castle itself, and of course you have all of the extra buildings and the rest of the city still waiting to be built at the back. And as always, let me know if you have any ideas or suggestions. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you always know when my latest videos are available. A massive thank you to all of my supporters on Patreon, and if you'd like to join me on Patreon and get access to exclusive videos such as the how to build a working LEGO rock band video which uses the same mechanism as the medieval bard troupe, then the link to that and many more exciting bonus videos will be in the description below. So I'll see you guys next time, and thanks for watching.